maybe in that crevice to the bottom right.
Bottom right.
Next to the sticks. Maybe not, it's just smooth rock.
And this prediction is tomorrow. I'm looking at this ridge that we're going to dive on. Our start point is currently at
partial zoom?
2,100 meters.
Yeah, I think that's a rock.
It is an southeasterly facing ridge, and I'll bet we're going to find stuff all over that ridge, unlike today, which is deeper, and it's also on the southwest side of the seamount. And look at these beautiful pillow flows.
Is that some starfish dust just below lasers? Your shaped dust?
It's just dust.
Yeah, I mean, you can come in partially if you want.
It's the bottom of the screen. It's
beautiful pillow formations here. That's how lava comes out in the deep sea.
Yep, sediment.
Thing about it is we don't have to worry about it because this lava came out not when this wasn't so deep. About 70, 80 million years ago. So it's pretty cold by now.
Period of the dinosaurs.
Period of the dinosaurs.
That's interesting. 70 million years ago, I would have expected more sediment. But something's blown through here.
Yeah. Yeah, so Roland is just pointing out if it's had that long to accumulate sediment, but the thing is, the seamount just hasn't been sitting at this. Hey, we've seen something different.
All right, come in video.
Yeah, Les was talking about this.
Can you take my camera?
Rock dwelling Seriantha. Of course, I'm
Thank
getting
you.
a little behind on getting caught up in
Chill.
the event log, but yeah, Les, that's in
work
my
with video
sights.
for tilt.
Roger that.
They may have
Tilting
some video on that on the website of what it was doing, but they certainly have some still
Spinning right
pictures on their
through
website
that.
of that event. And this is such a curious animal. That's just like one of the top of
Tilting
my
down.
list. I think Tino and others and Scott and everybody who's been watching for a while is very curious about that huge Seriantid animal. But meanwhile, we're looking at a black coral right now. I think I've got an idea. I'm going to wait for...
Slight tilt
I don't know
up.
if Tina is up
Tilting.
yet or not. She may be sleeping, which I suspect. So Scott, if you are watching, let's see.
There you go.
I don't know if he's watching actively right now or eating dinner where he's at. But if he is, we'll give him a minute to comment on this. I think it's heteropathies, but I'm not positive. Scott, it's got a row of tentacles right down the opposite side of the main stem. That's why I was thinking it would go into the heteropathes, but if you think Bathopathes is a
clear.
better fit, I haven't
your
punched in
tilt
the
back for
annotation
now.
yet.
Okay, we can come out.
Yeah, there
All
was,
right. Looks
So we actually
70 degrees.
to take off.
Sako is saying it could be the same or similar heteropathes as we collected. So we collected a, was it Heteropathes CF Americana, and it was different than this one, Asako. And tentacles, polyps on the main axis is okay for Bathopathes. Okay, I'll go ahead and change that to Bathopathes.
Are we interested in this?
I
Science.
don't think so. It's a stock from a bamboo coral. We can move on.
Okay. We'll move on.
Okay, so his point and Asako's point is the question on that other coral, and we could look at it more closely from still images, is whether there were just tentacles on the opposite side of that coral we were just looking at, or whether there's short little branches on there. Because if it's branches, it's one thing. If it was just tentacles, it's different. So might be able to determine that.
Coral down at the bottom.
Copy. Ooh, I don't. Okay, let's try this.
Where is it, Matt? The one that they're looking at right now? Bottom right. Yeah, that one in the middle, right? I think that's a chrysogorgid. I think, yeah.
Also a shrimp.
Okay, come in, video.
Tilt down.
Tilting down.
All right, we're getting a good side view of a chrysogorgid octocoral. And we got both Les and Scott, who are experts in this family of coral, participating right now. So I'm just going to put the family in, and I'm going to let them perhaps cue us in on the event log as to
Slide
what
tilt up.
possible species it could be.
Can
Or
you
at
tilt
least
up
genus.
Copilot for me, please?
Bet you could reach it with your middle finger there. You can do it. Yes.
So Les Watling was explaining the one of the ways you can go further on these animals, and that's how many branches are coming out per revolution around the stem.
Pilot, what was that thing swimming behind it?
Polychaete.
Oh, it's a polychaete. Okay. I thought perhaps it was revolving.
Let's get a full image if we can.
Well,
Copy.
they're just going to go to chrysogorgid on that.
Let me know when we're clear, video.
They need to recenter.
Oh, okay.
A little too wide right now.
You're making it work for it, aren't you, Roland?
Oh yeah. I don't take it easy on any of my pilots. It's an interesting thing in the top left.
Yeah, I saw that
Right.
too, Roland. I think we're good on the coral. I wonder if we could look at that thing on the
Okay,
top
you can
left.
Scratch it.
Okay.
Yeah, just swing right there, right on the edge. It's a little distant.
Go
Okay.
wide.
And then zoom in about now, and I think you'll catch it. You're going to go behind the
Yeah.
mound and miss it if you
Yeah.
go more to the port
It's right
now.
in the center. It's that
Come
thing
in,
right out
yeah,
on the
come in,
edge-
video.
edge
Up,
there.
tilt up.
Tilt down.
Is that a little
That's the
crinoid like
little
a
one.
smatulid that's still on a
Top
stalk?
of the screen.
Top
That's
right.
it.
You mean on the upper
Yeah,
rock
the,
back
the,
there?
the little guy right
It's
there.
either that or a cladorizid.
You need a little bit more up tilt when he gets there.
That's
That's
a
it.
crinoid, I think.
It is. Oh,
It's probably
it is a crinoid.
Antidonity, maybe, and it's on that. Maybe you can explain what's
Sure.
going on here.
So throughout the dive today and throughout a lot of the
Copy.
expedition, we've seen lots of feather stars. Well, and I've also noted that there are two different distinct morphs of crinoids, the feather stars and the stocked crinoids. They actually are, they're the same kind of animal, but they actually share certain relationship with each other. The feather stars are actually the sort of independent cup of the stocked forms. And so what And so what happens is, in the life cycle of the little feather stars, when they're tiny, tiny forms, they're actually little stocked crinoids. And so at a certain point when they mature, the cup on the little stocked crinoid actually kind of takes off like the pod on a rocket. And it abandons the stock and moves on as kind of its own free-living cup form with the arms that allow it to swim and so forth. It no longer remains on a sessile stock. So
Careful.
seeing little forms like that is often very informative.
Don't knock it over.
But sometimes it's important to know which crinoids are in the area in the first place. So
Yeah,
it's a
just come on video.
You're so
mystery
right.
for another
Okay.
day.
I think we're done with the little guy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you need to get out of there. You're getting yourself stuck between two rocks. There you go. Drawers in. Yeah, go ahead and push it out a little bit there, Sean, and so I don't run over the top of you. Yeah, you're good now. You were just drifting up there.
Yeah, I saw that. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, no worries, man.
All right, Washleads, we're just doing a shift change right now. Video, sorry, are you talking to a pilot? Copy that, never mind.
Just an update from navigation, which I just got. So we have about 1 more hour on bottom here, and we have 400 meters to go to waypoint 3, so I don't think we're going to make it today. But we are going to try to make a little more distance because we've scratched the surface on this ridge. We've only gone a few hundred meters so far, partially because of the topography, but also we got all our collections and everything else. But so we're going to see if we can make a little more tracks here at the end of the dive. They're doing a change out here in the front row, and that's why we're pausing momentarily. Obviously, if we see something different, we can
Copy
zoom
that.
down and take a look at it. but
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we'll get ship moving, and we'll try to move as quick as we can.
all right, thank you.
All right, Nav.
We have
what
got
ship doing
some
right now?
spectacular rocks, and we have some spectacular biologics today that we got right off the bat. It's terrific.
We certainly did. I got one of my target starfish from something that I've seen for several years.
6050 is going to be the direction of movement, pilot.
We've gotten some good
6050,
geological
copy.
samples for geochemists and other hard rock biologists
050.
to
Yeah,
study,
whenever
to survey
you
the
want. Go ahead and put the move
history
in.
of this area.
'Cause,
And
yeah, we're ready.
what else do
A
we do? We got
fantastic black coral.
and a black coral.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we did pretty good on the collection front. This ridge was informative, although not quite as dense as we had hoped. But I'm going out on a limb, and I'm going to say that you're going to see a more entertaining ridge tomorrow. We're in a more favorable depth and a more favorable orientation, perhaps, of the ridge, and it's just a prediction, and we'll see if that comes true or not, because we're constantly surprised down here.
You ready for me to call that in, pilot?
We've seen this
Yeah, go for it.
unbranched lepidopsis quite a few times today.
Bridge, RV Nav.
This is the bridge.
Yeah, you guys ready for a move?
Yes, we are.
Range 30 meters, bearing
About
050 degrees,
27
speed
meters,
0.2 knots.
2,527 meters.
That is range 30, bearing 050, speed decimal 2.
Good copy.
Hey, co-pilot, how do you have me?
Loud and clear, pilot. How me?
Have you good?
Excellent.
Yeah,
So
we
that-
just put a move in.
Yeah, there hasn't been much on the bottom, so I mean, if you really want to pick it up, we can do that because
Yeah, we
500
just
meters
put,
with
yeah, we just put the move in, so we'll have to wait a little bit, but
it's an average speed of 500 meters per hour.
RV move initiated.
Move initiated. Thank you, Bridge.
So I think I'm seeing only one haircut that I recognize from the last watch. Is that correct, pilot?
yes, that's correct. We just swapped out 2 seats up front. Sitting pilot Sean Kennison from Global Foundation for Ocean Exploration, and then sitting navigator is,
Levi Unima.
and then from last shift, and my co-pilot,
It's Andy Lister again.
and then video,
Anyway,
and back at clipping.
Bob Knott. And we are your hosts for the as the biology co-leads, Chris Ma from the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of Natural History.
I call the move in.
Chris Kelly from
what
the
you got?
University of Hawaii. And
30 meters.
And your helpful helper, Matt
050.
Dornbach from National Centers for
also
Environmental
has not
Information
matched up.
and the Deep Sea Coral
Type
Program.
Still,
At all.
yeah. That's how it was when I was on shift.
And it's been up and down like this.
I don't know, maybe this is just my own impression, but I
Quite a
think
bit.
Annie's got the most
Diametrically.
different haircut of this particular group. I may be wrong there, but
well, I'd like to think so.
we have quite a mix normally in the control room of males and females, but Annie is doing the solo job here today. She's representing her gender. And so you got to do a fantastic job over there, Annie.
So no pressure at all.
No pressure at all. We've had Emily and we've had Tara in here, and we've had Nicola earlier this morning. So.
Getting out there, but I'll give you what tether I can.
Yeah, copy that. I'm trying not to tug you at all.
Yeah, I'll drop down delta of like 10. Yeah, you're not going to have much.
That's all right.
I think we have a swing out, layback of about 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah, that's about, I think, what we had before.
You guys thinking for a bailout right now?
I had it at 260. I don't know what it is
It's
now.
I kept it there.
Yeah, because
It's hard to say.
I like that because
some-
you could go just backwards on the screws.
Okay.
Out of that, and it's
I agree.
downhill.
Oh, Is this a sea cucumber or a worm?
It's a
Left or right?
cucumber,
90
I
or
think.
270 also works, but 260 I think is the best.
Yeah,
As
one
they're
sec.
known to their buddies.
Sounds good.
Can we get the lasers on?
Okay, it is.
Lasers on?
Yeah.
Sure.
Lasers.
No interest or?
No, I think we saw one earlier.
You're happy on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have
I was
much
hoping
feather
it
anyway.
might be one of those big
Take a look
worms.
for video.
I'm sorry, what did you say upon it?
Oh, I said we didn't have much tether if you wanted to take a look anyway and wait till we got up.
Yeah, I can go over to port.
Okay. So what we've noticed so far, it's a pretty thin ridge, but it's not real defined.
Yeah. Copy that. So you've been pretty much
So
maintaining this
Yep.
direction.
I think I shifted maybe 10 degrees.
Copy.
So, pilot, I guess the way I could couch the objectives for the remainder of the dive is to put the pedal to the metal until you see something interesting, and then slam on the brakes as quickly as you can. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're pretty good at that by now. So I think we can accomplish that.
Okay.
Looks like a coral on the left side of the screen, halfway up.
Yeah. That may be one of these unbranched bamboos that we've imaged today.
Is it dead ahead video?
It is back behind sort of that mound.
Or is it back?
Not as far back as the white stalk, but just to the right of the white
Okay.
stalk.
No. Coming to it right now, that one?
Yep, that one.
Zoom from
man.
here. Go in.
Way to go, Annie. Your eyes are amazing. And this is what we just collected
partial?
earlier today. This
Copy.
is the heteropathes
Yeah, it's about as far
that
as
looks
I can go.
like
So if you wanna go more,
Americana,
feel free to zoom.
but
Alright.
it's not clear at all. So
Not
this is the
full zoom.
third one we've seen at this site.
Copy.
Beautiful black coral here. Good eyes, Annie. That's tremendous. Okay, you're representing your gender extremely well right out of the gates.
Oh, here's another one of these little feather star juveniles at the base of this black coral. For those of you who might have just tuned in, we've seen a lot of these feather stars throughout the dive, but most people don't get to see a baby one. The baby
Starting to
ones
move
look
now.
just like the stocked crinoids, the sort of the older versions that we see.
Just got full eyes.
Awesome,
The
thank you.
feather
Yeah.
stars break off and become independent as they get older.
I think if we
We can
pop
Pop another one in there?
time in, let's take into account layback, which is 4 minutes,
3 to 4.
3 to 4. We'll say 4 to be safe, and then keep them going like that. I think it'd be safe.
Another one of those
Okay.
two-branch Norellas over there to the left. We saw some of those earlier on.
Any interest in zooms, Washington?
No, we're trying to see anything unique.
Copy.
Not so far. This has kind of been it for the day, I'm afraid. A lot of the day.
ROV nav, move initiated. Move complete, rather.
Move complete.
Just a heads up, we are going to do a little wrap up shortly before we leave bottom, and then we're going to have a pre-dive briefing just a few minutes after we leave bottom, where all we
got a
need
bit of
is
tether now.
time to get Mashkur
Nice.
Malik,
Copy.
the mapping lead, in here to set up the display for you folks to look at the map. And those of you interested in seeing where we are diving tomorrow, then keep your eyes on feed 3, I believe is what he's going to put it on at that time. And I think we got about 45 minutes or so, maybe 50 minutes left in the dive. So that's when this is all going to happen. Asako confirmed it was the same black coral. Thank you, Asako. And she was there and she saw it. little discussion about that Chrysogorgia, but that's back a ways, so I won't reiterate that. It won't be confusing for folks listening. There's a fish off to the left, right on the left boundary, a little bit more. Screen. There he is.
There we go.
Copy that. All right, video. Come on in as he comes center.
A little baby grenadier, I think.
Yep. I'm not sure it's a baby. It's this thing that we've been seeing for a couple years that we're tentatively calling Kumba, as Bruce Mundy would. Let us know. So grenadiers are also known as rat tails. So we had a little discussion about which the proper term to use, either rat tail or grenadier. They both are been applied to the same family, the Macrouridae. These are deep dwelling specialists. They only occur in deep water, at least here in the Pacific. We're in or in the tropical Pacific, excuse me. I think you get some grenadiers over in colder water along the continental shelf, over in the west coast and maybe up in Alaska, but here where the shallow water temperatures are 26 degrees, then you don't get these up that shallow.
Our video, come on. The guy lost him. Oh, there he is. Yeah, he's like down there. All right, video, come on, zoom. Oh. Yeah, rats. Yeah, he's down there. All right, we'll leave him.
You know, sometimes we can look at behavior, and some species have very distinctive behaviors, and the little Kumbas that we've imaged before, that's what they do.
Ship end?
They 12, zip off. They're not a sort of slow and sluggish.
5 minutes.
Is that a sea star right over that rock?
They can, is that a sea star? That's a sea star.
Is that?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm an aster.
So Washington, you probably want to skip this, right?
Yeah, we want to skip it.
You do that, I'm going to come up there and control.
This is one of those slam on your brakes moments, I guess.
Copy that.
Can we get lasers on this too? Because that's huge.
Lasers coming on. Oh, they're already on.
Wow. That's 10 centimeters across. So this, I'll get a little closer before I start expository. But
actually, hold on off on that move.
Yeah.
But long story short, this is a slime star. This is one of my favorite animals to look at in the deep sea.
All right, video, if you want to come on in.
Yep.
Then we can lose lasers.
Yeah. Okay, so this is actually...
Lasers not coming off.
Oh, this is interesting.
Video, go with zoom
not
in.
what I was expecting, actually. So this might actually be pteraster instead of hymenaster. These are sea stars that actually have an extra layer of sort of tissue covering the actual surface of the animal. So what we're seeing is actually kind of a circus tent that's propped up by spines. And below that is where the animal's actual surface lies. There are the gills and all the sort of functional parts of the animal just below this. And this hole that is right dead center in the disc, that's called the osculum. And that's sort of the opening which allows water to go inside that space between the top surface and the actual surface of the sea star. the reason I was calling these slime stars was because these can actually produce mucus as a defense mechanism. And I've learned this the hard way. There are shallow water species that can shoot mucus, but the deep water ones were not very well known up until a few years ago when I collected one on the KOK, the Pisces 5 submersible, and picked one up out of the box, and lo and behold, it had created a nice drippingly strong thread of mucus that they use to defend themselves. These are really strange sea stars in many ways. The DNA for these animals suggests that they're actually one of the earliest of sea star types. They diverge from the other sea stars very early on. So in addition to having this kind of early divergence and their bizarre adaptations and this strange body morphology, there's always something to learn about them whenever we see them. They're often predatory on sponges.
Sorry to pull out of the box?
Yeah, sorry. We're seeing kind of a fringe around the edge there.
Can you run the skid over this guy as you're leaving, pilot? Boy.
We're not doing anything like that.
Oh, we aren't going to do that? Oh, okay. But it eats sponges.
Chris's request is denied. Denied.
So is this Pteraster reticulatus? It sure looks like the picture of it in the Okeanos online animal guide.
It could be, but frankly, yeah, it could very well be. I don't know. Does it get that? I forget if the range for that is that deep. This is 2,000 meters, and
it's from Johnston, actually.
Yeah. Oh, so maybe it is.
Yeah.
Still,
this is 2,000 to 3,000 meters. That's what the gray bar is.
Good on this, whatever science is.
So interesting. Thank you. And a nice big example of one. So it was about 10 centimeters across. So that's a good sized animal. I'm always the thing about a lot of sea stars in these habitats is always extremely odd how there's one of them. You know, you never see a bunch of them together. So it's never clear to me if they're just kind of walking someplace or if they have just been feeding on something. Sort of, you come upon that lone traveler along the road. What is it doing? Or did it just grow up there and it's just been feeding in that area?
So we might have to go this way.
Interesting.
So we are.
So here's my view from earlier.
We're now at 2,515 meters. So for quite a while we were going up and down there on kind of a level ridge, and now we're finally moving up a little bit.
You want 045? No, I was at 050, but do you want me to move 045?
I think whatever this is good.
Wait, hold on 1 second.
Yeah, 5 degrees. Fine.
This is 50 right here.
All right. 5 degrees is going to break the bank, so Weber nav thing, so leave it up to him.
I'll call it in.
Great, thank you.
So, pilot, was that your thruster, or was there actually a little current now showing up, maybe from the east? I thought I saw some particles.
Yeah, we'd like to move range 30 meters, bearing 045 degrees,
I'm not
speed decimal 2.
It's possible it's thrusters, but there's not a lot of current.
Range 30 meters.
Oh, okay.
Bearing 045. Speed 0.
Hasn't been current all day.
Coming up.
Yeah. Sometimes on these drop-offs we get high currents, but that's not the case right now.
Alrighty, thank you. I wonder if that's a barrier. I can't imagine. I don't understand currents well enough to know whether you'd have depth-related
looks like there's an urchin
differences
just
in
on
current
the
velocity, even if it's
just about to go off stream.
Doesn't make
now.
any sense. So never mind.
On the right side of this.
So what you're saying is you're not up to date. You're not current.
Vines are just off the bottom, right there. Center screen.
Move initiated.
Move initiated. Take your bridge.
All right, Biddy, you want to come in?
We got a little crinoid there or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's that cup-shaped thing next to it? Is it a little worm?
Keep zooming.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe a dead single polyp scleractinian or something.
No, I think it's a worm tube.
It's a worm tube?
Yeah. Or could be a little sponge, I guess.
Nav, do you want to try stopping?
Anyway, we can move on. Yeah. Idle.
helps again.
Interest.
Yeah, I can try that.
I've been testing it and wriding notes.
I'm just
see
wondering
it
if maybe
does
these
anything.
crinoids are the same thing as those little tiny
I've been
stock
stopping, clearing,
baby
starting.
feathers
Okay.
similar.
All right, video, come on.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Let's see what else we can find.
All right, we're on the move. Let's see if we can get up a little
Oh, no,
further.
there are some rocks. I bet there's some brassingans on the other side of there.
There's a sea cucumber. We've already imaged a couple of
And
these
then I've been
stalactites
clearing out
today.
high pack too,
Is
just
that the
because
same one?
you.
Yeah, it's got the
Resetting,
purple head.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll wait till USB gets going again. There we go.
Yeah, either one. I've just been doing the sled.
And there's a polyopogon sponge just peeking out from the rock. I think it's polyopogon. Yeah.
Is that the one on the right you're talking about?
Yeah, to the right.
Mm.
The close right. Yeah, it's polyopogon. And there's a coral straight ahead. I don't know if it's in our direction. I wonder if it's another one of these black corals.
Yeah, we're kind of moving that way.
Yeah,
Just
you
waiting
get
for
a-
ship to catch up.
Sure, and when we get there, maybe a snap zoom. It could be this unusual black coral that we collected earlier.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
already
copy
starting
that.
far off, isn't it?
Did you get a
No,
We're looking at USBL.
Oh, okay.
Well, now it's
Check
looking
it
a
out.
lot less like that.
Oh, honey.
It's a primnode or something,
Sweet.
perhaps, or a crinoid.
Oh, wow. Looks like we are.
You're getting out there.
Yeah. Let it settle out for a minute.
Is that a little shrimp that's...
Shrimp.
There's a little red thing right in front of us.
Oh.
I think that's just a shrimp, but...
Copy that. Are lasers on, Kipot? Or can I just not see them?
Let's check. Lasers are on now.
Video, go for zoom.
Alright.
Oh, yeah, shrimp.
Long-legged shrimp, Nymphatocarcinus.
All right, video, you can come wide.
Full wide.
Awesome.
Wish we'd found this place earlier.
Give me this rocky area. Yeah, it's becoming more consolidated. We're also getting closer to that boundary depth because we're
Yeah.
in the, well,
Sure.
10 meters closer, I guess.
Yeah, Kipot, as we pass over this little hump here, let's make sure we're careful with the tether.
Kind of a little local high there.
Gorget
Yeah,
down
this-
Are you
there.
going up and over that guy?
Oh,
I'd like to just go around him,
Okay.
but the ship's moving that way, so as we
Yeah.
we'll eventually have to pass over.
so we're looking off of the east side of this ridge. You can see it just drops straight away. This is one of the reasons why we picked the site. We expected to see rather amazing current acceleration, which we have not seen today.
I don't know, I think there might be... so what's that? There's a stock to the left, and there's a big thing on top of that rock. It looks like a dead sponge.
Do you want to lead me? Rogers?
Sorry, so let's go to the big dead sponge first, Chris. Do you want to do that?
Where's the dead
It's
sponge?
on the right, all the way on top of that boulder. There's a...
Is it on screen?
it's
Not
just
yet.
at the top. I thought it was a dead sponge anyway. Maybe
If you keep
it's a
looking
rock.
up.
Is that a sponge or...
It's a rock.
It is a rock. I'm sorry. It looked like a sponge.
No, it's all right.
Where was that? Matt, you pointed that out. I didn't see it. Center of the valley.
You're talking about that? There's a coral branched
Yeah.
colony right in the
Yeah,
center.
that's
of
Chrysogorgid.
yeah.
Yeah.
Any interest,
The-
Watchers?
I think, well, if we're waiting for the ship is fine, but if we're on the move, we could
We can
keep
do a
going.
quick zoom.
Sure.
Video quick zoom.
Okay. That's partial.
Yeah, you can go all the way real quick.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Oop, my fault video. Come partial. I think that's good. You can come wide.
And we're full wide.
Alright, so let's take a peek over port. Alright, co-pilot and nav. So we came to drop off all around us.
What about
I'm seeing something faintly ahead if you keep turning
turn
to
to
your
port?
port.
Yeah.
Sonar's showing a little something.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Let's say, yeah, that way.
Go this way.
Say
Copy.
continue along 050 until we find something.
Yeah.
Or 040, either one.
Was it looking 50? Yeah,
Or, yeah, I'm looking 50 right now, but I can turn.
I think this is fine. Last move was 4-5.
Yeah, last move's 4-5.
When did that end?
Actually, 40 does look
Just
better.
ended.
Just ended.
So you got a couple minutes to swing, but
Yeah.
Yeah, 40 looks a little promising.
yeah, towards that
40.
sponge basically.
Copy. Yeah, picking something out.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I can zoom give you some additional range.
I'm at 20. Yeah, put me to. Yeah, 50's good.
Yeah, great. Okay.
Alright, let's follow 40.
Oh, we may want to put me at 35 then. If you're going to head to that way and you're already off to my port.
Yeah, what are you looking at? 35?
Yeah, let's go
turn
me
to
35.
Set up. And then, yeah, you might as well put another move in, because I can see 30 meters ahead and there's nothing.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
I just do
Bridge.
not see
There's a
what's
jelly floating in the
basically wrong
upper
with
left.
This is the bridge. Go
topography.
Yeah, we'd
here.
like another
This,
move,
subsurface
range
certainly
30
looks like
meters,
it'd be
bearing
conducive.
035 degrees,
So it's
speed
fine.
decimal 2.
Right to us.
Come on in.
Actually, it doesn't
Community
even
development,
say
if
Range
you
30
ask me,
meters,
or hard
bearing
subsurface community
035,
development here. So,
Speed 0 decimal
you know, I'm
2.
assuming that it's
Coming in.
environmental
see
conditions, which
it
I don't
anymore.
think is
Yeah.
any surprise to
Alright, no problem.
anybody. But yes, there are some loose boulders in here as well, and we have noted in the past that we don't find as many things in sort of cobbly bouldery habitat, but
Headed off
there's
to,
also plenty
Gowan.
of
You might be pulling
consolidated
just a little bit.
habitat here
Head off to
for
port there.
animals to have settled out on,
Come
and
back
yet
center.
we're finding them completely barren. It's fairly sediment
I
swept,
can't really give you any more. I'm pretty
and
close to.
so it's not, at least from what we
bottom
can
of my
tell, it's
10
not
trash.
because
Yeah.
of
Just maintain,
sedimentation.
Come back.
Yep, you're pulling me, so that'll be that for a little while.
So I don't know.
ROV nav, move initiated.
We're just getting
Move
some
initiated. Thank you, Bridge.
negative data here today,
Backing
for
up,
at least
come
from a
back.
community standpoint, not from an individual animal standpoint. We've seen a bunch of stuff already. I think yellow bolosomas rule this habitat. I think they've been would you agree? Is that perhaps the most abundant animal we've seen
Oh,
today?
yeah. Well, at least the most prominent.
Yeah, the biggest thing, the easiest
Yeah.
to spot, I guess.
Right. I mean, the most numerous might be those little white sponges that, I mean, I see them everywhere. So not
Right.
densely, but they do seem to be rather abundant, perhaps undercounted.
Interestingly enough, when we did a 3,000 meter dive off of a beautiful rift zone ridge off of Pearl and Hermes Reef in the Northwest Hawaiian Islands in 2015, we hardly saw anything there at all, but we did see one thing, and guess what we saw?
Sponges?
Bolosoma, the yellow Bolosoma.
I wonder what it is about those things. I mean, their larvae spread out. They have a low metabolism, and they can just pluck food out of the water.
I guess so. Or they
Pilot,
yeah.
There's a white circle on the ridge to the right there.
Copy that.
Is that doable?
Yeah. See what I'm going for?
I live in hope that that's an urchin, but I bet it's a sponge. Yes. Let's see what it is.
Copy that. Our video snap zoom.
It's a sponge.
And it's a small Bolosoma.
So hoping it would be a sea urchin.
Come on.
Oh well.
So why do you think sponges might be a little more successful in an area that doesn't have much current flow as opposed to corals? Here's the question.
Well, they don't have tissue. They're just sitting there absorbing stuff, right?
They have tissue.
I'm sorry. They have tissue, right? Okay, but it's not like they have like a really developed tissue system.
Well, that's not what I was digging for there.
Low metabolism?
Well, yeah, but no, that's still not what I'm digging for. Okay.
Dr. Kelly, please.
Because, and I'll bet folks in the event log know this, that sponges can create their own current. They have specialized cells, and corals do not. Corals are passive filter feeders. Sponges, in one sense, are semi-passive in that they sit still in one place, but they have these little ciliated cells, or flagellated cells, I guess is a better term, that are whipping all the time and creating a current. So they're not completely dependent.
They're not just dependent on the currents to feed them. Huh. Okay.
Right.
Interesting. I hadn't given that much thought.
I don't think I've mentioned it this cruise before. I usually mention it a couple times, and I just have forgotten.
Well, it makes me wonder, too, if the larvae for Bolosoma just react really well to these substrates or something, because we've sure seen a lot of them.
Yeah. Nolan Barrett also pointed out that, having a stock is probably very, very, very advantageous as well, although corals can get up to that size, but we have seen some bigger corals. Like yesterday, we saw a huge Cratoisidinae that we actually collected a branch of, but that's a very good point, Nolan. Maybe you need to get up. And what? This is perfect. Thank you, Nolan. And why would you expect getting up off the bottom to be a little bit better? Question number 2.
Well, presumably to take advantage of the current flow because of the benthic boundary layer.
About the what?
Because of the boundary layer.
Oh, you did know this one. So what's that, Chris? Of course you knew this one. But anyway, what's that? Perfect opportunity to explain something here.
So the benthic boundary layer is a place where essentially the drag of the surface, the benthic surface, the bottom, it basically puts a drag on the water. And so the water moves at a somewhat slower rate, and that puts a drag on the layers of the water above it. So for a filter feeding optima, the higher up off the bottom you get, the more ideal, presumably, the optima is for filter feeding. And so presumably that's where these sponges are best able to filter feed. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you, Nolan, for reminding us of some of these things we haven't mentioned the whole cruise. Scott usually mentions something like this. I don't know if he has or not this cruise, because he always comes in with stuff like that.
Oh, sometimes I just don't think about it because it's. Yeah. I mean, I learned about those things for Brisinghids and other. That's the same kind of dynamic that a lot of filter feeding echinoderms use.
But kind of at a point,
they're trying to optimize
lower down a little bit
the
if I could,
current
kind
flow.
of at a point over ground.
And sometimes I forget there's the rest of that environment to consider when you look at how they're feeding.
So all of this comes into play when you're trying to ponder why one spot seems to be better than another spot for the development of a dense community. And we just don't know enough right now.
What's that in the background there? There's a big rock to the left, and is that coral or is that 3 arms of a starfish?
Center coming up.
Yeah, that's a coral. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fighting words. Let's see if you get anything.
It's those.
All right, so Scott's signing off. Thanks, Scott, for participating. He's hitting dinner.
Stopped a
Some
minute and a half
interesting stuff
ago.
on this rock.
Completed its move a minute and a half ago.
Yeah, I don't know if Scott has finished up. We could do a little.
I'm happy, pilot. Up to you.
Well, he's maybe he can finish his dinner and come back for the pre-dive, but which will be in about 20 minutes.
I heard that, Ma.
Especially with the changing terrain and stuff.
Yeah.
Big rocks.
First, because here was supposed to be perfectly flat earlier.
Yeah.
It was one big cliff.
That's another one of these polyopogon that's on the side of the rock this time. Same species we've imaged before. Got a couple corals right on the edge here, and actually, interestingly enough, current might get, whatever current there is, might get accelerated in this little crack. So we're getting a bunch of these guys living in this little crack. It's like Marshcore is getting the Fleeter Mouse display ready to be ready to go in about 20 minutes or so when we do the pre-dive for tomorrow.
26 minutes. Left on bottom.
Ken's got a point. I'm trying to understand this because it's
still
out of my area or expertise, but he's talking about some isotope analyses that his group has done on some deep living sponges. And his research has revealed some unusual isotopic signatures that might imply that sponges are feeding on
bridge RV nav.
Particles that are not being used by other particulate.
Yeah, I'd like to call on a move if you're ready.
Feeders.
Ready.
So thank you very much,
range
Ken. And that may be
30
another
meters,
reason why
bearing 035 degrees, speed 0.2 knots.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Range 30 meters, bearing 035 degrees, speed 0.2 knots.
Scott was noting as tomorrow a dive I proposed. I can't remember if Scott, this is one that I proposed, but you may have proposed it as well. It's on Rift Zone Ridge to the east side of this west. What is it? West.
What?
Oh, it's Wetmore Seamount. Jeez, I had a senior moment. Sorry. Anyway, it's a Rift Zone Ridge extending off the east side, and there's at least one of those that caught both of our eyes, so it may be both of us who did this one. It'd be great if you could hang on for that,
ROV
but if
nav,
not, of course
move
I
initiated.
understand.
Move is initiated. Thanks, Rich.
Okay, Scott may be signing off, but just to let him know before he does, he may be able to attend. He's not sure, but we are going to be diving in that Goldilocks zone, if you'll pardon my use of that word. And there's a dead sponge coming into view right now, but tomorrow's dive will be in an area at a depth and on the type of topography that we have found some really spectacular communities on. So I do have some hopes for tomorrow's dive. We're back up a bit shallower, so we're at 2,500 meters today, and we're going to be looking in the 2,000 meter range tomorrow. So, and we've got some animal that's right on the side of the sponge stock. I wonder if we could take a peek at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not sure what that is.
Anemone?
Yeah, maybe. Could be an actinoscythia, one of these
Our video, come on
Venus flytrap anemones.
That's what it looks like to me.
It's a partial.
It's not particularly flytrappy, but yeah, we'll put it. I think it is.
Is it alright to zoom more?
Yeah, go for it.
That's full zoom.
These are beautiful anemones, and look who's sitting up on top of them. It's a Munidopsis, a type of squat lobster.
Oh, yeah. We haven't seen too many of those today. They're hiding amongst their coral hosts, I guess.
I guess so. Although a lot of these are living on the rocks, ones we've come across in the past, so maybe those are the ones we could easily see.
All right, video, whenever you're good, I think we can move on.
Alright.
So we're
Purple
getting
wide.
fairly close to the end of the dive. You want to do a little summary, Chris?
Sure. We saw 2 great starfish today. One we collected, which was a new genus and species, I think, of an animal that we saw a couple of years ago while you were in the Hawaiian Islands and at approximately this depth. And so I've been hoping to see it again, and so today provided a great opportunity for it. We saw a slime star. We've seen a number of sponges. We saw that one orange goniastrid on literally the first minute that we got to the bottom. In terms of animals, it's been a fairly light abundance today, but we've seen a broad diversity. We've seen crinoids. We've certainly seen sea cucumbers, which have made the best of the organic particles that are on the rocks. Sea anemones. We've seen barnacles. I think we've seen a good representation of, I guess, what we're starting to call the magnesium.
Manganese.
Manganese crust fauna. An assortment of corals and sponges and echinoderms, as well as sort of smaller crustaceans and other sort of epifaunal or epizoic types of invertebrates. Does that do it?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't have much to add. I just we did see a couple of sponges that were really beautiful. These yellow giant lollipops, which are always a crowd pleaser. At least they please me.
What is that? A stocked crinoid over there?
Where is that?
Oh, to the left. There's a big star-shaped. It's a crinoid. Maybe it's not a stocked crinoid. It's just big. But yeah, let's take a look at that. It almost looks,
yeah, down there.
Yeah,
feather star.
Yeah, it looks a little bigger.
Video snap zoom.
Alright.
Is this it? Watch it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's just a little bigger. It's a different species than the one I think we've been seeing.
He always does that. He interrupts me when I start talking about sponges.
Yeah, because being interrupted is never what happens to me. Please, Chris, I digress. I'm sorry. Go on.
No, I'm
Thank you, Pilot. I appreciate it.
I'm trying to think of what other sponges we saw today. That seems to be the biggest one. We saw a couple little ones. Yeah, I don't remember. Do you remember any other sponges we saw?
Poliopogon.
You're right.
At least
of course.
2 or 3 species or formas of Poliopogon. We
That's
see those
right.
little white sponges. We saw that really nifty cladorhizid, which, thanks to Les Watling, I have a paper to read tonight about how it feeds. We saw that wonderful benthic siphonophore today.
There we go.
That was, I think,
spectacular.
as much a highlight as anything that we saw.
Yeah,
And,
well, it was. It was gorgeous.
And I'll need to read up on that as well. I'm not sure if we know that much about it, frankly. So, very interesting.
Right. And we did see a few squat lobsters, a few shrimp. We saw some polychaete